Congratulations on your purchase of Blichmann Engineering's Tower of Power modular brewing system. The Tower of Power is like no other system on the market. We have designed the Tower of Power to deliver extremely precise measurements over a broad range of batch sizes, flow rates, and heat values. With the Tower of Power modular brewing system, you can expect large-scale brewery results in a home brewing sized package. In this video, we will cover the assembly and installation of the Tower of Power, as well as assembly and installation of the optional tower stand. First, let's begin by assembling the optional tower stand. Included in your package are 1 tower assembly, 2 left-handed legs, 2 right-handed legs, 4 leveling feet, 2 stiffening plates, 1 pump mounting bracket, 1 pump drip shield, 4 1/4" 20 by 3/4" inch bolts and nuts, 4 1/4" 20 by 3/4" hex bolts, nuts, and 8 washers, 2 5/16 by 3/4" hex bolts, 4 number 10 24 by 3/8 panhead screws, 1 hose assembly, 1 3/8 90-degree quick connector fitting, 1 1/2" 90-degree quick connector fitting, 1 optional March 815 pump if ordered with tower. Begin by installing the legs to the bottom of the tower. Make sure to install the stiffening plate on the inside of the enclosure, using the 4 1/2" 20 bolts and nuts. Please note that there are 2 left-hand legs and 2 right-hand legs. One of each is installed on each side of the enclosure. Next, thread the leveling feet onto the end of each leg. Using the 5/16 bolts, install the pump bracket. Then, using the 1/4" 20 by 3/4" bolts, nuts, and washers, install the drip shield and pump. It may be necessary to reorient the pump head so that the inlet faces down and the outlet faces up. To do this, simply remove the 4 mounting screws, rotate the head, and reinstall. Next, we will need to wire the pump. Begin by inserting the lead wire through the rubber grommet in the back of the enclosure and feed it out of the bottom. Spraying the wire with a little glass cleaner will allow it to slide through the grommet easier. Then, remove the wire nuts from the green, black, and white wires that are labeled Pump Power and connect them to the matching color leads on the pump lead using the wire nuts. Then, push the remaining wire up into the bottom of the tower. Next, install the 1/2" 90-degree quick connector to the bottom of the pump and install the 3/8 90-degree quick connector onto the sampling port valve. Then, connect the hose assembly to the pump outlet and the flow meter inlet. The assembly of the tower element is now complete. Now, let's install the control module on top of the tower. We will cover both single and dual control module installation. To install a single control module on the tower, insert the 4 number 10 by 3/8 screws through the mating holes in the angle brackets on top of the tower. Use a long Phillips head screwdriver or a ratcheting or 90-degree screwdriver to make accessing the front 2 screws easier. Then, plug the controller into the GFCI receptacle on the back of the tower. To install 2 control modules onto the tower, use the 4 number 10 by 3/8 screws and adapter plate, which must be purchased separately. Connect the modules using the 4 outer screw holes. Then, use an additional 4 screws to mount the assembly onto the tower using the inner 4 screw holes and placing the screws through the mating holes in the angle brackets on top of the tower. Then, plug each controller into the GFCI receptacle on the back of the tower. Now, let's install the gas solenoid valve onto our burner. It is preferred to install the solenoid valve as close to the burner as possible but it is acceptable to install it on your propane tank after the regulator. In all cases, do not locate it in an area that will expose it to excessive heat. If you can't comfortably rest your hand on the valve during operation, it is too close. Using the supplied male and female flare by 1/4 inch NPT fitting, install the gas solenoid in line with the gas supply line after the regulator. Make sure that the arrow is pointing in the same direction as the gas flow. Do not use pipe tape on the flare connection, only on the NPT threads that connect to the solenoid body. Also, make sure that the brass orifice fitting supplied with your burner is installed directly on the burner casting. Do not install the fitting on the inlet to the regulator. Please note that each installation may be different. We've included the fittings that will work in most installations, but you may need to purchase other fittings through your local hardware store to complete your specific installation. Next, using a flathead screwdriver, install the solenoid power cable to the solenoid body. Now we need to install the ignition electrode. For this step, you will need to drill 2 holes into your burner to attach the electrode to. Using a permanent marker, place 2 marks 3/8 inch apart and about 1 inch above the surface of the burner. Drill 1 3/8 hole and another 3/16 hole using your cobalt or titanium drill bit. If you are installing your electrode on a Blichmann Engineering top-tier burner, you will only need to drill a 3/16 hole, since the flame inspection hole can be used for inserting the electrode. Using the supplied number 8 32 by 3/8 screw and nut, attach the electrode to your burner. Mark the point where the wire, when bent 90 degrees down, will be in the center of the flame path. For top-tier burners, you will want the electrode center over one of the burner nozzles. It is critical to the function of the controller that the electrode be directly in the flame path of the burner. Remove the electrode and gently bend at the area you marked into a 90-degree angle and reinstall. Be careful not to break the white ceramic insulator. For the electrode to function properly, you will need to leave a 3/16 to 1/4 inch gap between the flame nozzle and the electrode tip. Simply use a pair of wire cutters to trim any excess electrode. Now we need to install the temperature sensor, or RTD, in your hot liquor tank. Since water convects very easily, it is not necessary to recirculate with a pump, and the sensor can be placed directly in the pot. Determine the desired location for the sensor on your hot liquor tank and mark the center point with a permanent marker. We suggest locating the RTD in the middle of your water level. If you are installing the sensor in a Blichmann Engineering Boilermaker, you can remove the brewmometer and replace with the temperature sensor. No drilling is necessary. For all other kettles, drill a 3/16 pilot hole and then, using your step drill, enlarge the hole to a 1/2 inch. After the hole is drilled, remove any burrs, which, if not removed, can tear the O-ring and lead to leaks. Now, assemble the sensor, making sure that the O-ring and metal retaining ring are placed on the outside of the pot. Do not use pipe tape on the threads. Tighten the nut snugly, but do not use excessive force. You can also mount the sensor in the NPT pipe thread located on your kettle as well, using the supplied adapter bushing. Next, we will need to install the sensor of the mash control portion of our tower of power. We have engineered this system to work with a wide array of home brewing setups. It is very important that the sensor be placed after the pump and not directly in the mash tun. Doing so will cause the system to be very unstable. To begin with, let's install the sensor on the optional tower stand. Simply use a 3/4 wrench and install into the 4-way pipe fitting. Make sure not to over-tighten the sensor. To connect the sensor to other systems, connect the outlet valve of your mash to the inlet of the pump. Next, install a flow control valve after the pump. Then, simply attach the sensor to a pipe T using the included 1/2 inch NPT by 1/2 inch 20 thread adapter bushing. Make sure to use several turns of high-quality Teflon tape on the outside of the bushing. Do not use tape on the sensor. Use the sensor to insert the bushing into the pipe T. Stop when the washer touches the pipe T. it is not necessary to tighten it any further. Make sure that the tip of the sensor protrudes slightly into the middle of the flow cavity in order for it to accurately measure the wort temperature. Plumb through the sensor, and lastly back to the top of the mash bed. Please note that the adapter cannot easily be removed once it has been installed. However, additional bushings are available through your retailer. Now, it is time to connect the controller to your system. Make sure that the system is off before attaching any sensors or wires. First, connect the solenoid power out, then the optional communications cable, then the RTD temperature sensor, followed by the orange ignition cable. Next, connect the ground cable to the burner frame and install the ignition cable into the ignition wire receiver. Now attach the corresponding mash or hot liquor tank labels, and that's it. The labels have a split backing. Remove the top portion, as this allows you to align the label before applying it. By following these simple instructions, you can be sure that your Blichmann Engineering Tower of Power modular brewing system will help you produce consistently superb beers batch after batch. If you ever have any questions or comments about any of our great products, contact your Blichmann Engineering retailer, or contact us directly through our website at www.blichmannengineering.com, and be sure to stay up to date with all of our exciting new releases. Have a great brew day.